Here we go. Okay, it's counting. Normally I press record and we're not recording. So, when Mary asked me to speak, and then I thought about it, it's like, why is my underqualified self coming here to present anything? I think we could all do what I'm about to say very well. So, just listening to this right now, I thought, wow, I haven't even written anything in probably 4 months, 5 months, and it all sounds great. I was like, I need to be learning from everybody else. Why am I speaking today? So today it's going to be more of the original story of how this all came about. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to give away. These are all going back because they're either spoken for or my inventory has been depleted. And, well, I'll show you that later. But it was interesting. I was going to start with a story of how anxiety in my life came about. I called it my mental health adventures from 2015. And what I said earlier when we first sat down is I didn't get to bed until about 4 o'clock, 4:30 this morning, because I felt like God wanted me to revisit 2015 and like the panic attacks and the nausea and just stress, just because I was going to come here this afternoon and then share. So I was actually thanking him. I was like, okay, so I was going to try and recall some stuff, but you gave me first-hand, feelings again. So last night was a very familiar dose of the same anxiety. And so in 2015, I was 25 and just started watching the news a lot more. And that's probably not good for anybody. So that's when the anxiety set in. Didn't want to be at church, didn't want to be at the movie theater, didn't want to be anywhere where there was a crowd because I didn't want to get shot. So that was the big thing happening. And I tried everything. I mean, I was on the Calm app, tried different groups through Kaiser's Therapy Center, and until I just really opened up my Bible and unpack that, that's when things started to get better. So for me, without having any outlet, because there was no social media, I had deleted everything, and it was just my friends. So I thought, well, what can I do? And that was a blog. I found WordPress, which is probably one of the biggest websites. And I should have said in the beginning, we're going to use this as, if you have questions, don't hold them, use them, or just ask away. I was sick last week, and the last thing I wanted to do was cancel on you. So if I pause, I'm probably out of breath. Might as well ask a question.
We can all move further back now if we need to.
No, I'm good now. I made sure that everything was okay, so I wasn't going to show up and just infect anybody else. But I used to always hear the lingering cough. Like, oh, people talk about lingering cough. Well, yeah, now I'm getting them. So WordPress was my outlet, and I just wanted to really post pictures. Wasn't a writer at all, but since it was a blog, I thought, well, I gotta write something. So I was just writing little paragraphs, just different things to go along with the picture. And then the church I was with, we ended up starting a cycling ministry shortly after I started this blog. And part of that, and leading that, was I had to give a devotional. Just a small devotional every Saturday on whatever I wanted. I was like, okay, well, so the pieces are forming, and the puzzle was coming together. So I thought, okay, instead of just writing this out and then deleting everything I had, why don't I just start using this for the blog and creating material? And anxiety was the biggest thing on my mind at the time. So little did I know I was going to just start turning this into, actual books. But over probably 5 years, 4.5, 5 years, I had about 160 articles on the site, and it's still up. I don't pay for it anymore, so the name has changed a little bit, and we can put all this in some notes to attach to the video. But I thought, well, maybe I should turn it into a book one day, something like that. And then, of course, all my friends, once you start sharing, write a book, write a book, write a book. So that's where the orange one came about. Anxiety at its finest. Why not? Everybody said, what's the title? I said, why not? So the reason they're all stacked together like this is because through this, here we go. Here's the one book, the actual book. And when you go through Amazon, which who, besides you, who else has done Amazon? Besides you two, back there. So I didn't know what to do, and they give you this little label on it, and you can even see because I was doing the covers myself and everything. So I published it, and I'll go into a little more detail with that. That was my first note, add page numbers. So there's all kind of just marks in here, right? And so I'll give you a little more about the process in a minute, but that was basically the story was, I had all these articles, I had all these photos. There's no photos in the books. It wasn't about the pictures, it was just about the stories. And it was personal life and how it related, the situation related to me, how I use scripture to move through with it, and then how I can apply that and you can apply that in your life. So it was always a verse, story, application, and then just a closing thought at the end. That's how every day went. So after 160 something articles, and that's what I was going to ask you earlier, was you said you published today. I was going to say, how did that feel?
It's an important thing that my first two books were ebooks, and it was very unsatisfying. But here you have a sense of closure, and in a few days I'll be able to hold something in my hand.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
It's such a good feeling when you hit that button and you're like, I'm done. Finally. Like all this work, you made all your I didn't have anybody, I don't know why. I really don't know why I didn't have anybody proofread any of this. I thought they're not gonna see what I'm trying to convey through that particular message. So there's probably in the blog there was probably about 5 or 6 entries that were proofread by friends, but other than that I just read through everything again, redlined it, blue lined it, whatever it was, and just put it out there. And in every one of these books, so my disclaimer, this is the only thing that was going to save me. Or did I not even put it in this one? I had a whole page just for this one line. I'm not perfect, only God is. Please excuse any errors in this text. Thank you for coming along on the journey. So what happened was I had enough material to talk about anxiety. So we got anxiety at its finest. 31 days, let's just help you get closer to God. Once that came out, it felt good. It felt really good. I thought I should do this again. I got enough entries. So, and then we'll just go down the list here, because now these are in order. So anxiety at its finest. I thought, okay, I've given everybody 31 days of depression and how to deal with, these very sad stories. So let's get happy. So God, I'm choosing joy. And it was just finding ways through scripture to just be delighted and just find the joy in every situation, even the bad ones. Like even me walking around aimlessly, my apartment complex at 3 o'clock this morning, just trying to calm down, just like I did 11 years ago in my grandparents' backyard. I was like, well, thank you, God. You apparently wanted me to feel something right now to bring that here today. So no matter what the situation is, you can probably find some joy somewhere. Shortly after that, I don't know why I had the crazy idea to write about love. It seemed like there was enough in there, but it's more about understanding the love of God and his love towards you. So there was just, and this is me just going back to the website, looking through, saying, okay, so I have, this lined up here, that lined up here, in my storytelling, and we just did something on love. And then last year, I don't know if, well, really just me, never mind, just, yeah, me and God.
Okay.
We did it.
Because it's about love, so I thought.
No, it's just me. And then last year, I don't know, around my birthday, it was just like, it seemed like it was just a difficult time. Maybe feeling like I'm getting older, and then, well, and then, like you had said, the cost of diapers earlier, and my thought was, well, I'm still not married and no kids, so I've been saving a lot of money. So there's things where it's like, well, coming up on 40 in a few years, and might want to start to live life, a little differently, like not alone, but we'll see what happens. But it was just a real sad couple months around my birthday, right? Like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And I was on my bike and pedaling through the woods, and I thought, well, there it is. Still breathing. So God's not done. Apparently there's still work to do, and I'm still breathing. So then we had 31 more days come through. And I thought, well, we're here. Am I gonna write more? Was this just like a service project and my writing time is done? Oh.
I was going to ask, so when you're writing your blogs, are you writing them for somebody else or are you writing them for you?
So I'm glad you asked that. It's really stemming from journal entries. So that was the whole point of the only way I was getting through anxiety was working with it with God.
Okay.
Just journaling, making it work, and then the journal entries turned into blog posts.
Now, are there any of these that when you were writing them, God was just speaking to you? You were feeling completely overwhelmed as you were writing it. Are any of those in there?
I think the way I'll describe it is, so like dopamine, the way dopamine works, where you get that hit from whatever it is, whether you're shopping or well, now I guess it's just screen time, right? The next whatever you watch is just that dopamine hit. So when I journal now, I start here with this idea, as I'm in Hebrews or First Chronicles or whatever it is. And then I end up at the bottom of the page somewhere totally different. I have no idea how I got there. I'm like, okay, God just took me on this whole thought journey, and I'm just like writing everything out, and it's almost this overly exciting, point now where it's like, okay, I thought I was going to write about this today, God, but you wanted me to really get this out. So now we're here, and I want to write again tomorrow. So lately, it's just been journaling just for me, just for my own mental health. But yeah, that's really all come from.
Okay.
And then we call it book 5. I don't know if we can technically call it book 5.
Can I ask about this kind of a mechanical thing? Because this is where I am. And I've already done editing 21 times, so I can appreciate that, what you've done. Okay. And this is stitch bound? How did you?
Amazon published it for me.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I've been on Amazon for all last week when I
Mhm.
was doing some more writing. Where do you find the information for this?
So I will sit with you, any of you, and go through this whole process. It's not bad. I didn't know what I was doing, and it ended up being I can publish a book in probably half an hour
Yeah,
now if
right.
I got the Word document.
Yeah, but I appreciate what you said, and I wish more people that are going to write Christian type material to emphasize what you did in that other book, because maybe it's this one. When you were talking about depression there for a couple, and I found this to be the number one thing that people expect to get an answer. And I'm of the mindset, because of my own past and just the way I see life going. You're not getting out of here till God says you're done.
Mhm.
So what between now and
Said
this
the woman who
depression you think you have, and that's because I looked up the dictionary with the depression. That's all about me syndrome. So if you decide and somebody's brutal enough to really be that honest, not the psychobabble of we'll think happy thoughts and all that. If someone is your best friend and says, you know what, I'm sick and tired of you pity party, get your butt in here and do something, or we're not hanging out.
Okay, Maria, he's gonna keep talking, so ask a quick question.
Oh.
So he
So,
can-
He's
then you-
recording.
That was
Yeah,
good.
he's recording.
The second part of this is actually I'm gonna kind of go through the process, so we'll dive into that right now. Actually, it's funny you say that though, because people would always tell me, like, I'd come off stage through men's groups and stuff, they'd be like, you have anxiety? You don't look like you have anxiety at all. And I go, well, I guess I'm gonna hide it good, or you just don't pay attention, because one way or the other. So I tell everybody, and I kind of labeled myself at one point, and then I kind of wanted to get away from the label. I was like, well, I don't want to be just, hi, I'm Ben, I have anxiety. That's not how I want to introduce myself. So I think that's why I tried to steer away from the first book of just anxiety, but there was still more writing to do. This last one is just a collection of all four of those, plus one more devotional that just made it out to 125. The reason it's Orange Hills is this was the whole, let's say, company or tagline, whatever you want to call it, that was the collection of this. So Orange Hills was my branding for the blog, and it's what I use for photography as well. And everybody says, well, why Orange Hills? What's the breakdown of it? And it's like a dictionary definition in the books. So orange is the color of joy, happiness, and I did not know that before looking it up. I just literally Googled, meanings of color, and hoping they were true. So so don't try and correct it, please, because everything on this will be wrong at that point. And then hills, I do a lot of cycling. And one thing I know is I got really good at riding uphill because nobody else wanted to ride uphill. So I figured I'd do the hard thing. So Orange Hills was finding joy through the struggles.
Nice.
And it's referencing James 1:4. I use James 1:4 through NIV, not any other version. Let perseverance finish its race, so you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. I would read that in church when I was so anxious, and it was in my wallet, and just read it and read it and read it. And now it's in here, so there's no more sticky note in my wallet. But as far as the publishing goes, so these were never going to get published. It was a conversation in Texas when I was visiting for a couple weeks, and a friend said, go on Amazon, they'll do it all for you. And if it wasn't for that dinner, these books would have never been, sent to Amazon. So I will say Word, or whatever they call it now, I guess it's just Word versus anything else. I still think of it as Office, but Microsoft Word
Well,
works,
Office contains a bunch, including
Yeah.
Word.
it works best for Amazon. I tried to do it in Google Docs once with this blue book, and everything came out wrong. So I had to put it back in Word and then format it that way again. There's
Real
a.
quick, does it matter the version or the year of?
I don't think
Microsoft?
it matters the
Okay.
version. Just you have to have your formatting so you can make your gutters. So you're, because what I first did was I just centered everything, and then your text was all the way to the end of
Okay.
the binding. So there's a few tricks. I still have just like a general template of how to format a page for. These are just standard. This is your standard book size.
Right.
Whatever 0.5 by whatever 0.5. This is the standard book. I wrote it. I designed. I mean, I don't want to say I designed the cover. These are very basic covers. It was just bold,
Right.
everything. The cover artwork and the back was just one PDF that was uploaded to Amazon. So if you want something this size, whether it be hardcover or paperback or hardcover, I have a template for you that I can share, and we can talk about it. It was just basic stuff because I just wanted a physical copy in my hand. So between the Word document, go ahead.
Quick answer to her. I have a 1980 Word program, and it
Oh,
works.
okay.
It works? Okay.
Now, you're doing straight Word. Do you do any PDF and download PDF? Because I found that I have a Firefox PDF, and when I try to download that, everything goes wrong. And it's like it wants the Adobe PDF. And so I've been
Yeah.
kind of forced to go in under Word, but if you go into Word, things shift. So you have to be extra careful to make sure everything lines up and is in the right place.
So Word works for the text, and then PDF is just for the covers. And so that's all it was I would just type everything in Word, however long it needed to be, and just literally sit there and space stuff out as I needed it. In these books, there's spaces for, so there's
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a page
Your-
break.
Yeah, so there's your prayer, and then there's basically your responsibility to kind of just, write yourself and work through it.
Do you have the exact same formatting in the Orange Hills as you do in like, does it have the prayer and then the space to write?
I'm glad I didn't just tell you yes, because I don't. So it's just, it was gonna be so big that it's just the text with no writing space.
Okay.
But, oh my gosh, I was about to confidently say, yes, there's lines in there too, and there is absolutely no lines in there. So
Right.
So the Orange Hills has all of those books in it.
it's all four of those, and then there's one bonus devotional, which sounds very weird saying, but there's 125 in here, and then all four of these equals 124
Oh,
days
okay.
or devotionals. So yeah, once you're on, and it's Amazon, but they call it Kindle Direct Publishing.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird when you get to the website, like KDP, what's this? I thought I was going to Amazon, and you just start answering questions. There's about 4 different pages, and the first one's just the information about the book. Like I said, I was trying to be super simple, so whatever my introduction was that's in here, that's what is published on Amazon. I just copy, pasted. It's like, okay, I'm done. Next step. Typical guy, I know. I was just trying to get it done. And then there's a spot where you upload your manuscript. So that's the Word document. Right below that, upload your cover. And I thought that you can put a front and a back, and no, they just want one PDF. So when you design it, it looks like this, and that's why this one, I'll pass this one around. This is the roughest book that's here. There's measurements on the front because I was trying to center the thing, and I'm using Canva, and that's why I tell everybody, I'm not perfect.
Can I see you this way?
Yeah,
Is
just
it
pass
okay?
that one around.
And for those who don't feel artistic, they have Cover Creator,
They do.
so you don't have to be artistic to use it.
They do. So the reason I wanted it so bold, and this is the same copy of that one. That one's just marked up. So the name of the book for whatever. Oh, there it is. Louis Giglio. So don't give an enemy a seat at the table. It's just big yellow cover, black text, and that's all it was. It really stands out. So I don't know if this is ever going to really stand out, but it stands out to me on the shelf at least. So that's what I kind of went with, and it's been easy to just duplicate for the next one and the next one.
Can I ask you what size font you have on the interior? You have the
Looks like about 8 or 9 point.
I want to say 9.
Small,
Yeah, just for those of us who are a little older, that's I want to read your books, but I can't. It's too small. The text is so small for me.
I'll just give you a Word document. It's okay.
So you could do that. But so in the future,
Yeah.
most people I think need to see at least 12.
That's one of the problems with getting someone else to do your work is Amazon should have been responsible enough to say, no, this text is too small.
Everything went through is okay.
They have
Yeah, it's
several,
okay,
No, he
but
means-
it's
he
not
means-
okay.
well,
Look at
they have several checks and balances. You put something out and they say, okay, the cover does not fit the trim.
Yeah.
The font is not the
Can I
right
see
type.
your,
This
finished
leaks
one?
over. There's like 10 or 12 different checkpoints that they run it through. But you pick the size of the font
There's all 4.
and you decide where you're going to put the spacing. I picked mine as a large print, and I put everything at 16 so I can read it.
Right.
But traditionally, it's always 12. Most of the books you get are 12 point.
Oh, good.
So
That's what I did.
It makes
Yeah.
me sad because I wanted to read them. Like it's so hard. I have to get
Take a
magnet.
picture and blow it up.
Or get a magnifying glass.
That's real dedication.
I honestly
But that's another
do
reason
that.
to go with Kindle. You can adjust the type size
Oh, an
easily.
ebook, yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as motivation, because that's something that Mary told me a few times. It's like, where does your motivation come from? How have you done this? In the publishing, I think all 5 were published in 14 months or so. It was really quick, maybe 18. It was like a part-time job. I just had to make the time, and I know life is busy, and that's why I haven't written anything in a few months, because now it's like I'm focused back on, I'm in career mode and trying to grow the business at work. So just all writing's kind of stopped. And there's never going to be enough hours in the day, but for that time, it was just, I'm going to write and write and write. And I had to hold myself accountable, and I had other people hold me accountable, which is why this group is so great, because you have to have a deadline to get something turned in to get reviewed, every month on a Sunday. And it's hard because you have to be vulnerable, especially when I'm telling people about how, I can't even sit in a room with a bunch of people because I'm going to pass out almost. You got to be vulnerable and let people in, and then they're going to ask you, well, are you done? When's it coming? So I set dates for myself. And I gave myself enough room and grace, but the point was Anxiety at its Finest came out. It was ready for Black Friday 2 years ago. And that was, so I think it was the beginning of November, like right after Halloween, I think the book published. And that gave people time to order it for Christmas, basically. It was supposed to be something around like just holiday shopping, right? And I didn't have it done. I didn't have it anywhere near done, but I knew I needed to get it done because I kept telling people, like, hey, you said this book was going to be out. So it was like either I start off on a bad foot already, and this reputation's going downhill quick, or you just make it work. So with the rest of them, once I got the first one done, it just kind of kept going. It's like the first one's the hardest, and it just keeps going. But you got to be just willing to be vulnerable. That was the biggest thing I told everybody, is if you're writing about yourself. Yeah.
What compelled you to do it at all? I mean, you had your blogs that came out of your journals to blogs, but what compelled you to publish it? What was the motivating factor? What is there someone you're thinking about, like you want to? I mean,
I think through the devotionals in person when we were there before the bike rides, and then just knowing that I can talk to somebody for so long, like at a coffee shop or this or that, and just being told, write a book, put this in a book. Like, well, you can take it with you, and even though I'm not there, this can still help you. I was actually asked last week by a coworker. She goes, is this in Spanish? Because there's a lot of people in Mexico that I've already told that I would love to share this with. And I said, you can translate it all you want and take all of that Amazon money if you want, but it is not in Spanish.
I think Amazon will translate, won't they?
I was trying to have her put some sweat equity into it, but
I think the AI program sometimes will translate, because they ask that question, is any of this translation done by AI when you're putting a book in there?
I think that's for legal
well,
purposes.
yeah. And also when you use an AI to translate, it doesn't get the sentence structure right. It
yes.
translates directly, word for
Oh,
word.
yeah.
So when you're reading it, let's say I was Spanish and then I read the direct translation, it would be weird sounding and like, what?
It's,
So you really need somebody who's
Spanish,
fluent in
Yeah.
to fix the
Yeah.
structure. Yeah. If he were going to take Spanish and translate it into English, then would have no trouble making sure that the sentence structure was right, because you're an English speaking person. But if it were the other way around, you do need a Spanish person to
Yeah.
fix the structure. So
That's
it's understandable.
very true. That's the biggest point, is it needs to sound the same. That's why I didn't even want somebody to read this and just edit it for me, because I had a couple people at work even offer their English majors and said, well, you're going to correct the grammar, but I need you to get the God right. So I just read through everything myself, and that was probably the hardest part, is because you've already seen it so many times. So now you have it, and that's why I went through all of these. And each one of these that have a line through them, because they're not for resale, they just have my notes. I've just marked up every page with blue ink, and I would just fold it over and then read the next one. And that was probably the most tiresome process, of just trying to self-edit to get it right.
Now, are those the print proof that you can
Yeah.
order? So
So-
before they release it, you can get a
So are you
copy?
looking? Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying.
So, I just have a
Do you
comment.
have those?
Mm-hmm.
So,
The proofs?
you are aware in Word that there is a dictate function, and it also will read to you, read your, okay. Does
There's
that,
also a sorry.
okay, no, that was it.
There's some, I've been told that my writing style, it's almost like I'm speaking to you at times, and some of them were more like I was just speaking to you, and Word doesn't like that, or I say, Word, don't play that. So
It's
it
just,
was,
yeah, but it was a suggestion simply when you're trying to self-edit. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So for me, I sit there and let it read to me, and then I'm hearing it and seeing it. So
Yeah.
I found that helpful. I didn't know it did that. Just another suggestion.
That's
I
a good
was-
one.
that if
I
you-
like that.
Yeah, there's a book I was reading, an ebook that I downloaded, and I was having an AI read it,
Mm-hmm.
and it responded to it in such a funny way, and I thought, oh, that's why it's reading. And it was a Bible devotional from you version, but the writer didn't format it just right, so the formatting was a little off. So the reader AI read it like it was a separate paragraph when it was just a formatting problem. So why is it talking like that? So it'll read it as it's written.
Right.
So if we type it funny somehow, like the quotations are wrong or there's a wrong space, whatever, it reads it in a funny way. So it kind of, in a way, lets you know there's something wrong, with what you've written. But like you're saying, I totally support that. I needed that when I was writing one of my books, to have it speak back to me, because then you can hear, oh, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because sometimes just in our own minds,
Right.
we might miss some things, but we hear it differently when it's read aloud
Yeah.
to yourself, or you can read it to yourself aloud. Read it aloud.
Yes, silly me. I was just trying to be cute and go to the coffee shop, just reading this myself, and oh, what are you
Yeah.
reading? Oh, I wrote it. Don't worry, it's mine.
It's
So
so
that's
commendable that you've
It's
done
hard.
this. It's wonderful.
But
Just tips.
so, is there any other points in here? I don't know how many times I wrote vulnerable. I just had a little outline here, but just vulnerability, like just be ready to be vulnerable. But like you were saying with formatting, don't let the formatting, stop you. Stuff is gonna come out wrong, and just share it. Ask. One email will save you hours and hours. And my lovely sister, she's in Texas now. She loves telling all of her people at church about me.
Oh.
So then I get these random emails or phone calls. It's like, can you help me fix this or that? I'm like, Dion? Okay. So the formatting it's a pain. Once you get it down and you see the mistakes from the first one, it makes the second, third, fourth, however many books much easier.
And there is a new operation, I guess you could call it, in Word. You probably discovered it already, and it's really fairly new. I think it might be even through Copilot. But on the side, when I'm writing something, there's like a little outlined pencil icon next to a paragraph where my cursor might be. And I didn't know what that was at first, and I clicked on the little pencil icon, and a whole options come up that it doesn't use the word format.
But edit.
But I can't remember the wording, but you get these three choices, so I clicked on one to make it more concise or something. And then actually
I think it's
formatted
grammatical modification.
I'm sorry?
It's grammatical options modification.
Okay.
So it like reads your sentence and says, well, it'll do a grammatical analysis. So it'll say, well, this is passive voice. You use too much passive voice. Blah de blah.
Yeah.
And then it rewrites the sentence.
Grammarly will do that, but
Oh,
this is a different operation,
I
and it
see.
actually will make it more concise if you wanted to, and align it in a format.
Did you?
So it kind of formats it for you, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It formats it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it you don't want, if you don't want titles to each
But I have a
paragraph.
question.
3 paragraphs,
When
and
we're
it
done.
gives you a title. It's nice for blogging, that particular operation. But anyway.
Yeah, none of these, I can say, none of these were written in any form of AI at all. I didn't have it it wasn't there when I was editing these. So I do little articles for LinkedIn about fire alarm stuff. That's through Copilot. That's just work. It's not, I don't mix artificial intelligence with Jesus, but I'll mix, the fire alarm system with AI all the time. Other than that, as far as the way it goes together, I think once you get that done, just to close up on it, you upload your documents, right? Your manuscript and your cover. You just go through a pricing page, and then one more, and you can get your author copy here. and they send this to you quick. You can, once you hit submit and you're published for days in advance or weeks in advance, you can get this in 2 days, maybe 1 day.
Wow.
When you order actual real copies, takes about 3 months. I don't know why
It's true.
Amazon takes
Man.
forever with your regular copies, but you can get one of these with this strip. Like, you click hit or submit, and they bill you $3.50 or whatever for these, and boom,
Yeah.
they're at your door. The real thing, I don't know why it takes so long. Have you figured that out yet? No.
I'm still waiting for some of mine to get here.
See, so it's like you're just checking, is it shipped? Is it shipped? Like, what's going on? And it's cool because in the back of them you can see, like, these were printed in Vegas. Some of these were printed in Illinois. So they just pick
Oh,
a
I see. They outsource it.
well,
Different
some of
distribution
the
centers.
is it some of the
Well, I have a friend who worked for Amazon, and he worked in the printing. They will print the books there, and they have one machine to do the paperbacks, and then another place, another Amazon will have the machine to do the hardbacks. So no, they have their own printing system there.
I think the way it works is if you have people buying in New York or Florida or wherever, the closest Amazon with a printing press to that buyer, it'll print there and ship. And their copies, so that's another thing. The author copies take forever, but if you order it as a customer, it's 2-day shipping.
Right,
They
it
print and
says
ship.
free delivery Wednesday, April 22nd.
They print and ship very quick. So if it is gonna be like a side business and a source of income, you don't have to hold any inventory at all. It's
That's
just
nice.
all on Amazon, and it's print to order.
Wow.
So I have some of these left over from some stuff I did around Christmas, and then now I have to deliver I don't even have one for myself anymore right now, and I don't want to order it because it's going to take 3 weeks. So I'm just kind of waiting. So
Or you would hope that if you order it as a customer, Amazon would take their money, and then you would get your royalty back on top of that. So it's kind of like,
I think you do, if you order it as a customer.
so it's like a sale, and therefore whatever royalties you would normally get come back to you on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't think of it that way because these aren't this one is basically priced to just cover the printing costs at this point. And the last thing I'll mention is that was the other page, your bank account information or whatever information to get the royalties. I didn't ever think of this to be like a form of income. I wasn't going to quit my job and be an author all of a sudden and everything. And when I did my taxes and Amazon sent me that 1099, my thought was, this many people bought these books this year or last year? What happened there? So I don't know how the word got out, but
That's great.
it was nice to see more than 7 were sold throughout the year. So I'm glad they're being used.
Well, God has a way of getting things to who needs to hear it.
Yeah.
I had it so strange that I don't do any advertising, and my wife was talking to her college professor, and he says, oh yeah, there's a friend of mine over at the University of Oklahoma. He buys all of Dennis's books, and he's his favorite author. And I had no idea who this guy was. And then I've seen other times there's sales over in the United Kingdom.
Nice.
So people start spreading. They do get out there.
Wow.
So I will say this on camera, since I said I don't read the whole email. And unfortunately I don't reread emails, so I don't remember how much time Mary said I had, but I think I'm getting close because I know it's close to 3:30.
Right.
So
Whenever you want to close.
Did you already say that you're giving it all away? How much income do you need to put away if you don't want any money for what you do?
So do you mean just to get them to sell?
Yeah,
Like a marketing?
Oh, you mean
So
to publish them?
yeah.
To print them?
There is no money up front to publish.
nothing. So when basically there's a massive page of just pricing, because Amazon shows you pricing
Pricing provided
For-
there's no cost.
for the book, but for every market. So not just America, all the other markets. I wasn't even gonna try to name another country with another
Japan,
currency.
Australia.
So all you have to do is just put your currency in. So they'll tell you the book costs $5 to print, and then Amazon needs $2.50 on top of that. So you need to charge at least $8 to cover the printing and Amazon, and then whatever else you get. And then they cap you. I think it's like $250 or something,
Yeah.
something like that.
So this wouldn't serve if you don't want any money.
If you don't want any money, you can probably.
You wanted people to have it for free.
Oh,
No money involved.
Oh, I don't
Maybe-
think you can give it away. I don't think you can
You'd
give
have
it
to-
away.
You have to buy it
You
and then
have
give it
to
away.
price it at what they allow as the least expensive, what they allow. Because they have to at least they need to be paid the printing costs.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I kept
So one of
thinking
my,
about,
on my uncle's memoir, I did it that way. I made it as cheap as I possibly could so that family could just buy it, you know. So I made it super, super inexpensive at the lowest possible cost. So there was no profit for me at all, maybe 1 cent, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and so that's,
Well, I
they-
just
they-
wondered-
like,
how much I have to put in because it will be a loss for me.
you're not losing anything. It's all Amazon. Amazon gives you,
Then I must.
you probably have to
Okay,
show her
when you
some
go
kind of-
in,
okay.
You sign up for free, you
Okay.
create your account,
Okay,
you download your stuff,
okay,
and one of the things I say is the ISBN number. Normally that would cost you, but Amazon will give you a free ISBN number that only works on Amazon. You can't go to Barnes and Noble and do it there.
okay.
Is it called the ASIN?
Yeah,
That's a,
that's their name for it. It's an ISBN number, they call it that. If you have one that you bought, you can download that and it can be published anywhere. But I've always done the straight ASIBM, which is the Amazon's
So
number.
step three,
Yeah, so that's
you
from
fill
Amazon.
out the paperwork
And then when you get down to the end, they say, how much do you want to charge?
and you put,
Now, you gotta be careful because price and costs do change. My early books that I did back in 2010, they need to raise the price because they can't print them for that much now. But you can put any price you want that covers their cost. And when you hit that button, it goes out. And anybody can buy it for that price. But if you want to buy it yourself and hand it out to people, you know, you pay your cost.
okay, so there is a cost.
Yeah, they don't give you free books. Like he was saying, this one here was like $3.50.
You might be able to publish an ebook version of
Yes.
it, and that might. I've never made an ebook on Amazon. Like I said, I did the physical copy, and I said, I'm done. I'm on to the next one. So, but you might be able to make an ebook, and that could be free. It could be
Yeah,
totally free.
They got a certain amount, but the ebook is very easy. Once you've done this, and I'm just going to stress, when you're doing your chapter headings, use at least a 16-point font. And you go into Kindle Create, and you download it. And if you've done it properly, every chapter comes up on the side and it says, do you want these to be your chapter headings? And if you say yes, boom, it's done. If it doesn't catch all your chapter headings, you got to go in individually and hit each one as a chapter heading. Then you hit publish, and it's almost immediate, like the same day it's out
It's
there.
like a bookmarking a PDF thing.
You have to have an interactive table of contents. That was the big
let's
thing.
finish this and then we can keep talking if you want to. So.
So
Concluding words?
that
Final
will
thoughts?
that will be it. There will be a comment, not a comment section. What do you call that at the bottom of
Q&A?
YouTube?
Q&A?
There will be links. I'll leave.
Oh.
I'll leave Mary with a link to the original blog website. And if there's any need for any documents I can provide, as far as like templates for standard book sizes, the covers with the spine, because that's difficult, or the Word document itself, those will be there as well. Just reach out to, I guess, myself. or you, and we can get that to you. Thank you.
Do you live in Marina